I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. What's up, guys? I'm Justin Davis. Welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. If you like drones, you found the right channel because, well, look at where we're at today. This is so beautiful. It's such a nice day to fly after so many months of winter skies, snow, rain, ice. It's been crazy the past couple months. So it looks like maybe like spring is finally on the way. So I even saw like a snake over there earlier. Yeah, some of the, you know, the dangers of being a YouTuber and being out in fields all the time. This is where I would like to be. So I appreciate all you guys that support me on the channel for keeping me free of the cubicle, and my old desktop video editing job just kind of was no fun. So I really like being out on the road and testing out new things for you guys. So today on the channel, we're gonna test out the ATOMRC Dodo, and I know my man Stu over at UAV Futures has already heralded this one as a really good pick, but I want to find out for myself and give you guys an honest opinion on what the Dodo is all about. First and foremost, when this quad came in and I opened the box, and the first thing I thought was, holy God, what are these props on there? These are Cinewhoops props on a 3-inch micro brushless race FPV quad. Why would they put Cinewhoops props on a micro brushless? No, let's not do that. I'm gonna put some proper props down below for you guys. That will change the way this one flies. This one does have some vibes at the top end of the throttle, so that's because of giant bullnose props that are totally unnecessary for 1408 motors on here. These are Photon motors. They're 4000 kV, and when I first looked at these props, I thought these were going to be battery eaters because they're just gigantic, and they're kind of a lot of surface area for this quad and this kind of power. So the good news is that this quad gets one of the longest flight times for a 3-inch quad out there. I mean, over 8 minutes flight time with a 4S 850. If you're just cruising with this quad, that's actually really pretty good. And if you want to fly freestyle with a 650, that's the battery I'll recommend. 4S 650 milliamp with the different props I'm going to put down below, and you'll still get like close to 7 minutes out of that 650, which is kind of amazing. So this is a very economical quad to fly, cheap for the parts to replace, and a very, very hulky unibody on here as well. So I mean, it looks like 4mm on the bottom plate, so it's going to be almost indestructible for the exception of this plastic top plate. And the other big bummer I see about this one is there's no real way to get a camera on top of this thing. So if you want to fly some type of HD camera on top of here, you're going to have to figure out, maybe go over to thingiverse.com and see if they make a proper TPU mount for the Dodo. So thingiverse.com, check it out if you have a 3D printer. They have tons of stuff you guys can print at home. Lots and lots of camera mounts for all types of race quads. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and fire this one up on a 650. We'll also test it out on a 450, and let's play around in this beautiful, beautiful FPV playground. So many gaps to hit, and all of this is new to me, so I might hit a few tree branches today. I'm sure it's gonna happen. Here we go, guys. Let's have some fun. Well, after that, we'll come back to the bench and check this one out. Here we go. Okay, my friends, let's just go ahead and get this Dodo Plus up in the air. The D135, 135mm unibody on this. So, I mean, if you're gonna choose this quad for a beginner quad, it would definitely be a great sort of first 3-inch coming up from playing around with something smaller like Whoops, or maybe you had something like a 2.5-inch or even a 2-inch quad. This will be a good graduation level up to the next level. Or if you just want something that will be a 3-inch ripper that you can really toss around and kind of take some hits and learn freestyle flying. This will be definitely that great beater quad, like we call it beater, because the parts are cheap. The power system is crazy on it, but I mean, even up high, like, the video looks pretty stable when I'm at a smooth throttle with the stock props. Now, the tune on here, that transition right there under the trees, split S, it was pretty smooth. the roll rate on this quad feels kind of softened up for beginners. So in my opinion, if you're looking for an acro trainer, this is a great one because it's not super fast on the sticks, but super smooth power loops, and pretty much all of the maneuvers that I did with this quad, even this turn right here, everything feels really smooth on the sticks. So it's definitely like softened up for you guys, and it is not really hard to fly at all. So that's a nice thing. Look how smooth that roll is around and back under this tree, and some nice orbits around me. Feeling like I'm really having a lot of control. And there's a punch out. Man, look at that battery sag down to like 12 volts. But that was one of my first batteries, and I was pretty happy with that. So I'm off again on a 4S 650 this time. And I drove this battery down to like 12 volts for you guys, which I probably shouldn't do. But I mean, I got 7 minutes on a 650, almost 8 minutes driving it down super low. And I love the Foxeer Razor camera on here. It looks really good. You can really kind of see, the DVR doesn't really do it justice, but I felt like I could fly underneath this set of trees right here with just scraggle everywhere, and I'm still able to kind of see even individual branches with this camera. It's really quite good. And right there, I almost got a ghost branch right in the face in the quad, but perfect day to fly. And this camera does pretty well on overcast days too, so it has a pretty good light adjustment range, and it doesn't do a lot of light to dark weirdness. When you come out from under the trees, there's not like a huge light transition, a noticeable light transition from like in the shadows to the bright field. So this camera is pretty quick, and you can slow this quad down a lot. If you were to fly this in stability mode, look how much control we have there. Just a lot of control, because again, the controls are really softened up on this quad. It is not like a super advanced tune on here. It reminds me of some of the quads that Emax releases for the beginners, like the Tiny Hawk, for example, has a very soft tune on it, so that if you're a beginner and you're starting out and you're kind of banging the sticks around as a beginner, and you make a lot of mistakes. So this one, I'm able to kind of even fly it like a whoop in between the trees and fly around in the canopy and kind of explore places where I normally wouldn't be flying. And sometimes I'm only flying places like this with the DJI system. So for an analog system on this quad, it's doing pretty well. But I love the colors on this camera. The colors look great. And even kind of pointing into the sun, it doesn't get blown out, which is a really good thing. But I feel like I have a ton of control with the quad. And even coming up here for this orbit around this little bird sitting on that branch, he wasn't going anywhere. He decided that was his post, and he was not gonna leave his post. But a lot of fun with this quad today. Freestyle and some mild flying. So either way you wanna go, this quad is a lot of fun. So let's go back to the bench and take a little closer look at the specs. All right, my friends, welcome back from the flight test. So now we get to kind of dive in on the bench and on the patio table actually, and just talk about the Dodo. This is the Plus version. There are several different versions of this quad. The first one starts in at around $117 on the Banggood website. This one's like $150, which I think is a pretty good deal, considering how much better it will fly when you add the propellers that I put in the link down below. You're looking for the HQ 3x3s. I'll put those up on the screen right now so you can see what those look like. They are a much different prop altogether. The amount of pitch on that is a lower pitch prop, so it's going to give you even better flight time. You might even be able to pull 10 minutes off of those props, because this is way too aggressive. The pitch is too aggressive there. And the bullnose is absolutely unnecessary, because this is also a ducted prop. It's 4 ducts. These gym fan props were specifically made for Cinewhoop ducts. You can look these props up on Banggood too if you want. I did get a pack of replacements in the box, but I'm going to be putting these in my props bin for my Cinewhoops, and these are definitely coming off. So, but like always, I like to test things for you guys you know, how they are out of the box. And yeah, I'll have to report that at half throttle to 3/4 to full throttle, sort of smoothing out, but half to 3/4 of throttle was quite a bit of vibes because of all the surface area of these props. It doesn't make sense. ATOMRC might need to take note of that, and in the future when they're releasing quads, make sure they have the right props on these for you guys, because you will think something's wrong with the quad, and there's nothing wrong with this quad. So let's talk about the design aesthetic. I have seen this sort of 4-bolt top plate canopy before. Usually they make these in TPU. I've seen this very similar canopy on a lot of HDLRC quads, but the nice thing about this quad, I think the nicest thing is the actual flight controller that's on here. This is the Exceed F405 Mini. It is a 2-stack configuration, 20 amp 4-in-1 ESC setup with a micro USB. It is a very, very newly made flight controller. It also has plenty of room on here for adding extra things. We have 5 UARTs and the capability of adding GPS on here. So if you wanted to pull this off and put it on a 5-inch long-range mountain surfer, you could do that with this particular ESC setup, as long as it was a 4S configuration. You can't run 6S on this because we're only rocking 20 amp ESCs. So I also have a Foxeer camera on here, which is a really nice cam. This is the, I believe it was the Foxeer Razor on there, and it is a micro-sized cam. You also get 2 extra canopies, which I thought was cool, but this canopy looks really nice on the video, I think. Red and also black, and I think the black would actually look pretty stellar on here. But it's nice that they do give you extras, and I didn't have any problem with durability as far as the canopy goes. But and also just to prove to you that you can put GPS on this flight controller, here's the schematic that comes along with it. A really nice schematic. If you want to add FrSky type of receivers, they have that wiring set up on there for S-Bus receivers. Spectrum guys, you're not left out in the cold. TBS as well, Team Black Sheep, Crossfire. You can put the Nano on there. It has the layout for the pinning on the ESCs, which I think is cool because this particular flight controller has pads. So if you broke this mount right here, this harness, you can go back and solder things directly to the board. So that's a really nice option there. You have your camera set up here. We've got LED strip options, and then there's your GPS wiring. You're going to go over to SDA and SCL tabs there for all of your communication on your GPS, and it's the BN880 that they show there, but really you can use any. You can use the 220, which is one of my favorites. 880 is a little bit big for a micro application, so or the M8 GPS is also good if you guys are looking to run iNav on a quad. You can do that as well. But we have F405 flight controller, like I mentioned before. We have MPU 6000 gyro on there. We do have Betaflight OSD, of course, 5 UARTs, which is great. We have an onboard BEC. We have D-Shot, I believe it was D-Shot 300 running on this. And we also have the target set at ATOMRC F405 in Betaflight. So ATOMRC has their own Betaflight firmware on this, which is pretty cool. And they don't have anything on the back, but as far as support goes, you might be able to contact SKYZONE Daniel, because ATOMRC is essentially SKYZONE's quadcopter brand. So you're looking at a SKYZONE creation here, so that's pretty cool. And you guys know I'm a big SKYZONE fan. Now the batteries that I'm running on here, I'm getting over 8 minutes flight time on an 850, which I think is pretty cool. I use the all-line batteries. These have been serving me well. They have been damaged. They have been punked. They are swelling just a tiny bit right there. They have been slammed so many times, and not even sure what that means. Into the result. Is that Chinalish? Is that a word? Like Spanglish, Chinaglish, whatever. We also have a 650, and that one's getting us like, wow, like up in the 7-minute range. I was really impressed with the amount of flight time that I was getting with my HDLRC Kratos battery. I definitely recommend these. And this one has not started to swell at all. So this one's running really, really well at high throttle, and they're not starting to get punked out or swell. So that's really nice. All lines, these have been used for probably over 6 months, and it's starting to show some wear on it. But both of these are XT30. Those are the batteries that you'll need for this particular quad. So the Dodo Plus with the 1408 motors on here by itself is 135.5 grams. With the 4S650, that's getting us up to 215.4 grams. And even with the 4S850 on there, we're still getting under 250 grams at 231.4 grams total takeoff weight. That's actually really, really good. So if you want to stick something little on there like the Insta360 Go with a TPU mount or some type of home mount, you could do that and still keep this quad under 250 grams and have some HD video. That's pretty cool. I felt also like the strap was a little bit short. I wasn't able to get this, even the 650 battery on this quad with the stock strap, so I had to use one of their larger straps, and I had to cut it down to get it through here. We have a pad on the bottom, and it looks like we have at least about a 4mm bottom plate, unibody bottom plate, so super durable. And I did have to put on my own receiver because SKYZONE sent me this without a receiver on here, so it wasn't hard. You just have to follow the diagram. The tabs are pretty small, like on most 20x20 flight controllers they are quite small, but it's only 3 wires on the XM Plus. So if you guys want to like wire up your own receiver on here, it's literally only the signal wire, which is going to be your white wire, 5-volt, and the ground wire right there. So that's your power wire, that's your ground wire, and then your signal wire goes down to, I believe it was the S-Bus pad. I think there's an RX pad here for, let's look really closely there. Yeah, there's an actual S-Bus pad. So ground, 3.5 and 5 volts. So it looks like that pad right there might actually be changeable to 3.3 volt. And it doesn't appear that there's a dedicated 3.3 volt pad anywhere on this flight controller other than right there. So Spectrum guys, you'll be soldering your power cable to that same port right there. And then there's RX2, RSSI, and so on. But a lot of options with that flight controller. I really like the flight controller, and I think it's going to totally change once you guys change out the props on this quad. So I think it's a pretty decent release from ATOMRC. I look forward to flying more of their stuff as they bring out new quads for 2021. But yeah, and it's a great price too. Great flight time, great price, wrong props, but overall really kind of sexy looking quad. Cool looking quad for the price. It looks really nice, and this is the one I would go for if I were you. There are several different versions. There are a 2.5 inch version. I would get this 3-inch version because it absolutely rips, and it's a little softer on the tuning for the new guys. So you want to fly fast and you want to fly big, get this one with the 1408 4000 kV motors. This baby is hot, and it's not smoking my batteries. So that's really, really good news for you guys. You can even fly an older battery on here, and this power system will go easy on those batteries. So that is really good news, because I get afraid when I see a super huge power system on a quad like this for some of my older batteries, thinking that it's just going to kill a cell. But all my batteries survived, and there's a nice long flight time. The camera's good as well, and the VTX you can crank up as well. So you can do some really big air flying with this quad, and plenty of extras in this pack too for what it is and the price. So thanks again for watching my reviews, guys. We're going to cut out to the field again and just give one more final commentary on this quad. The Dodo Plus is the one to get. I'll put all the links down below for the different ones, but I'll list the Dodo Plus at the very top. That's the one that's around $150, and this is the one that I recommend. But please do subscribe on the channel, guys.